This week on the Computer Chronicles, the final part of our series on high-tech in Singapore. We'll take you to the Institute for Communications Research to see the latest in mobile computing devices and new smart toys. We'll visit a digital media design center where college students are developing new computer games. This is the Philips Innovation Campus in Singapore, where they're designing the new recordable DVD decks and a new generation internet radio. We'll show you how one Singapore startup scored big with a new media entertainment series for children. And we'll visit Creative Technology to show you their hottest new product, Prodikeys. The conclusion of our series on high-tech in Singapore, coming up next on the Computer Chronicles. Computer Chronicles is brought to you by the Oracle Small Business Suite, one completely integrated application that helps make it easier to run your business, including accounting, sales and service, your web presence, and more. Additional funding is provided by PC2PC, the online migration service from PC First, moving files, applications, and preferences from your old computer to your new one. For any country or region to become a world-class leader in technology, it needs world-class universities and research centers, an educational system that can produce the people talent, which is the key requirement for any successful technology company. And that is all part of the plan for the high-tech future here in Singapore. One of the many new educational research centers here in Singapore is the Institute for Communications Research, ICR. This institute specializes in cutting-edge research on optical technology, second-generation internet, and wireless devices. This is the Delphi Pad, designed as a portable computer, an electronic textbook, and a terminal for an internet telephony system using the new 3G technology. The Delphi Pad was developed in association with Ericsson. The Delphi Pad uses a new internet-based telephony standard called SIP, or Session Initiation Protocol, which lets you actually program the telephone, enabling it to do intelligent communications functions. This version of the Delphi Pad uses 802.11 network technology and Bluetooth, so it is totally wireless. The Institute is also working with RFID, radio frequency identification technology, that lets you embed electronic tags in objects without requiring a source of power.
When we try to develop read from a distance of 3 meters, clearly the most important breakthrough that we needed was to be able to convert the RF energy that is transmitted from the reader into power to power the tag from a very large distance. So we developed a very, very efficient technique to convert RF energy into basically power.
The other breakthrough here at the Institute for Communications Research was extending the range of existing RFID technology from a few inches to several meters.
In our technology, we can detect the tag up to a range of 3 meters. We can read as well as write IDs on the tag at the same range. And we can do it all without a battery on board, which is something we don't think is easy to achieve. Yeah.
The researchers here at ICR are working on several interesting applications for their new generation of RFID chips. This is a project to create so-called smart packaging, so that boxes you might find on a store shelf know what they are and can register themselves on an inventory database. Even the security controls on this conveyor belt system are based on RFID. A chip inside the operator's watch identifies him and authorizes him to operate the system. There are also fun applications for RFID technology. This is a smart playset for children. Each small animal doll has an RFID chip embedded in it that the big toy can read. It can then make the appropriate sound of the animal and tell the child what kind of animal it is.
This is a duck.
The researchers here are also working on next-generation cell phone technology, trying to perfect the new 3G standard.
The 3G technology is, although there is a world standard, is far from completely developed for commercial deployment. I think you must have read that there are still many problems associated with handsets and so on. So we continue to try and develop new algorithms for the handsets. We try to develop new techniques, new ways to reduce the power consumption, to perhaps make the terminal smaller, cheaper, and so on.
One of the 3G projects involves something called the smart antenna that can increase speed and bandwidth, thus enabling improved data communications for handheld devices like cell phones and PDAs. The researchers are demonstrating a smart antenna which uses an array of individual antennas and uses intelligent signal processing to dynamically switch to exactly the right combination of antennas to optimize the signal quality. You can see the greatly reduced bit error rate in the top graph that shows the signal quality after switching to the smart antenna. The bottom graph shows the high bit error rate using a standard antenna. ICR is also working on the next generation internet using technology called QoS, or quality of service. This is a smart packet switching system that can identify the kind of packet being sent over the network. It then prioritizes the packets based on the service package purchased by the user or the nature of the packets. For example, giving video packets a higher priority than data packets. In this demonstration, this web-based video conference using current internet technology has a slow frame rate and chunky-looking pictures. After the QoS technology is inserted, you see a 4x improvement in speed and picture quality. Part of Singapore's emphasis on high-tech training includes developing the skills to be creative with technology. This is Nanyang Polytechnic, a school known for its program in digital media design. Students here are working on a variety of projects, many of which end up as commercial products. This is an educational role-playing game created in Macromedia Director and Shockwave, designed to teach students about the culture of Malaysia. This robot character for another educational game is being developed using 3D Studio Max. These students are working with Adobe Premiere to develop this animated clip for teaching good driving habits. This strategy game is being developed on the Red Alert 2 engine and is designed to teach students about the Japanese invasion of Singapore during the Second World War. This first-person shooter uses the Half-Life engine and is about a terrorist attack on a Singapore power plant. It's being used to explain the need for military service and national self-defense. The students here are doing cutting-edge work, here using a programming language called WML to design a cell phone-based game called Orange Gum, which uses SMS messages in a kind of interactive soap opera. One of the biggest R&D centers here in Singapore is the Philips Innovation Campus, run by the Dutch electronics giant. They used to design and manufacture analog appliances here, but now they are working on the next generation of smart television sets and DVD devices.
In recent years, we are shifting very quickly into the digital world. So we focus in the digital technologies on storage, which is holding data, content, music, in tape and disc, and more on disc because that is digital. We focus on display. Behind me in the background, you see a huge lab of 200 people working on display. Display in the digital world, as well as we focus on connectivities, which links the products together, wired and wireless way.
Philips is developing its next generation of recordable DVD drives here, due out later this year, and scheduled to be priced at under $700.
But one of the cutting-edge technology that we want to bring to the market and proliferate to the consumers in the near term is to bring digital recording on a disc. This will allow consumers to...
After chilling, the cartridge will ensure uniform removal of skin and fat. Real picture today that it is not surprising
in a DVD playback quality, and that will bring home entertainment to its next level.
This new Philips DVD-TV combination uses an intelligent user interface. You don't have to figure out what input to select or how to set the thing up. If you put a DVD in the drawer, it automatically selects the right input and assumes you want to watch the DVD without further user interaction required. The drive in this TV is also a CDRW, so you can use it as a peripheral with your computer. Tired of trying to figure out how to set the clock on your dumb VCR? This smart TV called the Samba has a clock that automatically gets the time from information embedded in the television signal. One of the hottest new products being developed here by Philips is this internet radio called Streamium. It looks like any old boombox, but this is a web radio which can access thousands of radio stations from around the world via the internet.
If you would just one-to-one transpose the PC internet experience to a CE product, you obviously would not score very high. So the challenge we had is to really make an interface which was non-PC based, and in fact has nothing to do with the PC experience. You hook it up, it switches on, and it connects you to the internet as a radio. So it is really a radio experience with one small thing which is different. You have stations all over the world.
The Streamium Internet Radio comes with a database management interface which automatically sorts the stations by geography, genre, or source.
It means you can select regions. If you say, I want to have music out of the US, for instance, if you're Hong Kong based, you could select the US. You could also select a genre, which means if you're interested in jazz or rock or pop, you can select that genre, which will narrow you down to a certain number of stations, still thousands. Now the next thing is you would take the top of the pile and you would listen to it. If that's an interesting one, you would store that under a preset, just like you would do with a normal radio.
The Streamium can automatically generate a favorites list, so you can instantly call up your top 10 internet radio stations based on what you've listened to in the past. No need to know anything about URLs or media players, since the Philips Web Radio manages all of that in the background.
Philips is indeed in between as a liaison to take care that you don't have to dial IPs, that you don't have to think of which URL, that you don't have to figure out, do I have the right player on my PC and is it compatible with this thing? So we are in between and making basically the liaison between any internet music provider which we have an arrangement with and this device.
Most of the staff here at the Philips Innovation Campus are engineers. Most of them came here from other parts of the world.
At this point of time, we have about 800 engineers working in the various creation labs in Singapore, made up of easily 30 nationalities, ranging from the homegrown boys to the Americans, the Brazilians, the Dutch, and many others.
Despite Singapore's small size and distance from Europe and the United States, they apparently don't have a problem here recruiting engineering talent.
Comparatively, it's easy. There are several factors driving this ease in bringing talents. One is a society which is very multinational. You feel very at home here, at ease coming to work here. There is little distinction between who is a foreigner and who is a local. In fact, we don't really care too much about that one. The language is easy as well. The government policy is very supportive. That makes processing easy. And the family, by and large, finds it safe and easy to assimilate.
Besides big multinationals like Philips, Singapore is also home to several small startups that are using technology in a creative way. On the second floor of this former Chinatown chop house is a company called Peach Blossom Media, which creates web content and television shows. It was the first company to ever sell a television show, a kids' animation series, based on a pilot that was developed entirely in Flash, rather than traditional cell animation.
What's interesting about it is, usually the cartoon is done using cell animation, hand-drawn, but because of Singapore's labor costs, we can't do it in cell. So what we try to do is use technology. For example, we use Flash. So the pilot was actually done in Flash. It enables us to do it at a very reasonable cost in quite a short amount of time.
The breakthrough for Peach Blossom was figuring out how to use what is basically a web tool, Flash, in a more powerful way, so as to create smooth animations that could rival traditional animation techniques.
Typically, the Flash stuff you see on webisodes are, well, I guess maybe it's done by web designers using Flash or just Flash designers. But for us, our approach was from ground up. We are creatives, we are animators. We are actually animators using Flash. So a lot of the movements is actually much more natural. You don't get the jerkiness or the robotic movements that you assume that you associate with Flash.
This series they developed is called the Tomato Twins, and it's the first television series ever developed in Singapore to be carried by Nickelodeon. The series is a marketer's delight because it involves not only television, the story also unfolds on cell phones.
The concept of Tomato Twins is you have this show on TV that kids can watch. Now, while you're watching it, people can actually play SMS games. It's like the games are not just simple quizzes or what's Theo doing, what's Tuan doing, but it's actually integrated to the script so that people get very involved with the script, with the story, with how the twins are fighting their evil nemesis, Catastrophe.
Tomato Twins also blends in a website where viewers can earn points to win prizes, creating a mixed media entertainment property with plenty of opportunities to make advertisers happy.
The more points you win, you collect all these things called tomato gems, which are points. You get 1,000 points, 2,000 points. You collect all those, then you go online to the Tomato Twins website, and you play this thing called Tomato Battle, where you team up with another kid from anywhere else. You become a twin, and you guys fight the bad guys. So it's like a whole ecosystem thing.
Singapore has very ambitious plans for growing the high-tech industry here. This is a promotional video for a new development project called One North, designed to be a kind of planned Silicon Valley.
Well, Silicon Valley, as you are aware,
Computer Chronicles is brought to you by the Oracle Small Business Suite, one completely integrated application that...
And in fact, we have visited the Silicon Valley many times, understand some of the critical success factors, as well as some of the shortcomings. Silicon Valley is confined to Infocom industry. One North has more than that. We are going to have biomedical sciences, we are going to have media industry, and in fact, we have reserved space for the future industry, which, frankly speaking, we don't know what are there at the moment.
The area set aside for One North is about the size of New York Central Park, more than 450 acres. One North is being built as a live, work, learn, and play community with research facilities, residences, shops, schools, and entertainment. Included will be a biotech research and development area called the Biopolis with 2 million square feet of workspace, and an information technology area called the Technopolis. They expect the population of the One North complex to be 130,000 people by its completion date sometime in the next decade. The development will include lots of high-tech innovations like universal, wireless, high-speed connectivity.
For the whole 450 acres in One North, it is our intention to make it one of the largest wireless campuses in this part of the world. So the 450 acres, any corner within it, you are able to surf your internet. You are going to lock on with your business partner effortlessly.
While the mega project One North is being built, the Jurong Town Corporation, which is managing the development, has put up this temporary high-tech incubator facility called Phase Zero. It offers turnkey startup space, fully wired, low rent, and organized networking activities to seed cooperation and growth. Phase Zero used expertise from high-tech developers in Israel and India to plan this temporary center. The emphasis was on quick development, low construction costs, and the ability to recycle the materials, literally using shipping freight containers to assemble the buildings. Singapore is a very capitalistic society, but its government plays a very active role in business, not only as a regulator, but also as an investor and a kind of mediator among competing companies.
If you leave it solely to companies to develop, they would tend to fragment themselves because each company always look at the product that they are trying to develop, and they are all looking for maximum market share, and they will do it whatever ways and means. The concept of the end user, as in how do all these things fit together, are very often missing. Just look at any PowerPoint presentation. At the middle of any slide you see is the company's product. I mean, the end user seems to be at the peripherals. So I think the government's role is to see how we can put the person at the center and say that, you know, all these things, I know all of you need to make money, that is fine, but can you please protect the rights of the user?
Part of what makes Singapore attractive for foreign high-tech investment is its ability to move quickly. It is a compact city-state, one-stop shopping for all government services and approvals.
One of the things that Singapore offers is because of our densely populated population within this geographic area, and also the fact that we have one government. I mean, we don't have a state federal type of structure. It helps us to move quickly along, you know, any new direction that may be of interest to us. So the fact that we can move quickly in a certain direction helps companies who are developing products and services targeted at consumers and at enterprises to be able to test bait things, to find out what the value proposition is, to find out whether there's something that really works. So we then becomes the first area in which people will try things out, fine-tune the product, especially in terms of not just the technology, but the business and the linkages across different companies within the value chain.
Singapore became an important economic player largely because of its role as a port city. In fact, it is still the busiest transshipment port in the world. And in the new world of the internet, it thinks it can also become a virtual port city, serving the data needs of the vast Asian market.
Now we are building on this connectivity into the cyberspace. By end of this year, we would have more than 20 terabits of bandwidth coming through Singapore, allowing e-commerce, allowing information to flow. Again, connecting not just Singapore, but the region to the world.
Another strong card in Singapore's hand is the extraordinary interest around the world in selling products into China. Singapore, with a Chinese culture and an English language, thinks it is the perfect gateway to the vast Chinese market.
For Singapore, we look beyond China. If you take Singapore and draw a 7-hour flight radius, it would cover China, but also India, ASEAN, of course, plus Australia, a market of 2.8 billion people. For China, certainly, I think it's a big draw, but also because of its complexity, its size. Many people are not too familiar with the marketplace. For Singapore, we think that we could provide a launching pad, a sort of a springboard for companies which are keen to develop that market to get into China.
Perhaps the most famous Singapore success story is Creative Technology, makers of the Sound Blaster card. Creative is now also known for its line of Nomad MP3 players. Creative is a billion-dollar company and was the first Singapore-based company to be listed on NASDAQ. While Creative built its reputation on sound cards, it has now introduced its first ever external soundboard, the Extagy.
But Sound Blaster is so strong that it's always stuck inside the box, and right now we want to move outside the box. Once we move outside the box, we can actually address a much bigger market. We address people who don't want to open up their box, dare not open up the box. So finally we come up with a new Sound Blaster Extagy. For the first time, we give you the convenience of the USB port. You plug into your notebook or your PC. You can have great sound of the Sound Blaster Audigy, and that's very well received. You actually have professional quality sound.
The Extagy box offers 5-channel Dolby digital sound even on your laptop. If you're a PC user and you're jealous of your Mac friends and their neat little iPod, just wait till you see what's coming from Creative's MP3 division.
Going forward, in the very near future, I'm going to show you a glimpse of what we can do in this space. We actually have a very small version that's going to come out very soon that actually address those people who really want to have the portability and the convenience of a very small hard disk digital audio player.
The high-end version of Creative's newest Nomad, which is not yet on its website, will have 40 gigs of storage, able to hold up to 20,000 songs. Creative's other hot new product is this revolutionary dual computer keyboard called ProdaKeys.
By combining two keyboards in one and in a very ergonomics way, we solve all the problems together. And you can use it as a regular keyboard, you take off the cover, you can use it as a piano-like keyboard, but not having all the bells and whistles of a full piano or digital organs. You can actually play one hand when the computer actually do the auto accompaniment for you, or do all kinds of great accompaniment under your control. You can start in a very basic mode where you have zero knowledge and you can learn to play in a few seconds, and all the way to computer music courses, and all the way to compose your own music.
The ProdaKeys software actually turns your PC into an interactive music processor.
This dual keyboard becomes such a powerful musical instrument that you actually, for example, you can listen to CD music, OCD music, then you can add effects on the music keyboards. You can add whatever things you want and re-record it as an MP3 file and send it to your friends and say, hey, this is my actually new composition on these old songs that I like.
The new ProdaKeys not only saves space, but also provides totally new functionality in a MIDI-style keyboard.
By combining two keyboards in one, actually the form factor is a huge advantage because it does not occupy a big desk space, which is always short of, no matter what you do in a computer, you need more space, and space is always a problem. So by compressing the two together, you have the advantage. And at the same time, we are leveraging on the computer keyboard to provide the extra functions that normally a normal organ would not have. And therefore, suddenly, this dual keyboard becomes such a powerful musical instrument.
ProdaKeys is due out later this year for an estimated price of under $100. That's it for our look at high-tech in Singapore. For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Stuart Chaffee. Computer Chronicles is brought to you by the Oracle Small Business Suite, one completely integrated application that helps make it easier to run your business, including accounting, sales and service, your web presence, and more. Additional funding is provided by PC2PC, the online migration service from PC First, moving files, applications, and preferences from your old computer to your new one.